Hi Cutie Pies, it's Lanickia, and I'm coming to you with another video wrap up, review, recap of The Good Doctor. This has to be one of my favorite seasons, even though it's one of the most annoying seasons for me. One, because I was so disappointed in how, like, Claire is one of my favorite characters on here, and it was like every time you turned around, I was just heartbroken for her this season. The death of her mother. Um, and then to turn around, and she's trying to find herself and find feeling and meaning and everything, because she's angry with herself for having the wine because her mother died, drinking the bottle of wine that Claire had for, to celebrate her first surgery and everything. And so she's angry, she feels guilt, she's angry with herself, all of these emotions. So I was really sad. And then to have her fall in love with Dr. Melendez, and then, his character, I don't know why he left the show, but for his character to die at the end, oh my gosh, that was heartbreaking, because you could, and I liked their love where it was really subtle. It wasn't like they were friends. Like they were just friends who got really close and they just happened to fall in love, and it wasn't this um over the top thing, and it wasn't rushed. It was just a friendship where they just loved each other. And it could have been something more. It could have developed and grew into something more, but they won't get that opportunity. And I guess, oh my gosh, I love a show like that. I don't know, call it sappy or whatever, but I like a show like that where, it's the possibility. But it also makes it really sad as well because it's like you don't get to see them grow into something, but then you don't get to see them break each other's heart or anything as well. So there is that part of it. Um, so Claire had a rough season, but in the end, I think she's going to be okay for next season. She's probably going to deal with some heartbreak, with him dying, but I think she'll be okay in the end. Um, who do I want to go to next? Um, let's go to Morgan. Morgan, to me, we learned a lot about um, her this season. We learned that, one, she has arthritis. I think it's really severe arthritis in her hand, and so she's not going to be able to be the surgeon she want to be. And in the end, when everything happened on the last episodes and everything, and she risked, her hands. She saved them, but she killed her career in the process. She'll never be able to be a surgeon. So I think that was heartbreaking, but she's very intelligent and smart, and so I think whatever they have her do, she's gonna succeed at it. I think you learn a little bit more about her. Like she lied about her family, and you can see why. Like she saved her in that episode. She saved her mom's life, and even her brother was like, "Mom, be nice to her," and her mom just could not do it. She could not do it because she sees Morgan as being so different because they're artists and everything. And I thought it was funny to see that she always felt like she had to her brother loved her and everything. He had some resentment because she was always in competition with him, but you could see why. Like her mom really drove that because her brother was like her mom. They were artists, and her mom just didn't see. Even though she's successful, she's a doctor. She's very like in most families that would be you're successful. Not in her mom's eyes. They just didn't see it that way. Even the cure for her mom had to come from her brother so that she could understand that it would help her. And then once it does come, and Morgan is able to help her and where she can still be the artist that her mom wanted to be, she just could not give it to her. She could not get that dig in. And so you kind of see the competition or the nasty niceness of where that comes from with Morgan. So I thought that was something nice to see. But I was pissed at her for um, telling the Dr. Lim that there was something going on between Claire and Dr. Melendez. I'm like, girl, you knew there was nothing going on. Like, literally at that point, there was nothing going on with them. And really, they were never throughout the whole episode. They were just really close friends. So there was nothing going on, and he was helping her through a tough time. So I thought, she she's an acquired taste. Like, you know, it's one of those. She's one of those people you love to not hate, but you love to dislike. Like, girl, I mean, you do better. But so there's her, and you know that's pretty much with it with her and everything. I do like her with Sean. I honestly do. I actually like her better with Sean than Claire, um, because I think she's more no nonsense with Sean, and so I think I do like her better that way. Um, then we have Alex, who we see there's been a breakdown in his family. So it was nice to see that his family is coming back together. His son is having issues, panic attacks, and everything. So it was nice. It was just nice to see him in a different light as well. So it was nice to see that. And oh my gosh, y'all! In the end, when he was with that young kid and he was dying and he pretended to be his father, that was just such an emotional scene. It was like the last episode of the last two episodes of The Good Doctor. It's really, they were really good. Like they were really, that was wonderful writing, those last episodes. And when, you know, he called his son and he just had to speak to his son, you know, because he was like, he didn't want to, because the young man is like, my dad's mad at me because I wanted to, you know, he wanted to apologize to his dad because he didn't want him being mad at him because he knew that his mom was doing pills and, you know, on drugs and everything. But when the young man ended up dying, and I was like, man, he was on the young man was only in there like 2 episodes. But sometimes that guest star can bring out so much, and it did for like seeing Alex in a different way. Like, even though he's always been like really nice and kind of nice and everything, but it just lets you see him in a different way. Anyways, I just really enjoyed the last 2 episodes. If you're not watching it, you can watch it on ABC. I think they have an app, and also it's on Hulu. All of the seasons are on Hulu if you need to catch up. Um, so that was pretty much Alex. It's nice seeing his dynamic with his father, and he also when he told Claire that he was the one who told on her about, you know, her and the relationship. But he actually wasn't. He just did that so she could focus. So you could see where he has and he was, I believe, an ex-cop as well. And he takes care of Sean. I like that they have little scenes. I'm glad that he and Sean's scenes are not like these long, long ones and everything. Excuse me. And then, so that was the Dr. Glassman. I like him, but I'm not really into him. I don't know what it is, but he and his wife, I'm not really into that. But it's something to add in, you know, so you can get a break from the main characters of the show. Um, but yeah, his wife is working there, and she was working for him. That didn't work out. That didn't work out for him at all. So yeah, it is what it is. Let's move on. So then we see who else is there on that we really need to talk to. I mean, you have Dr. Andrews. You know, he's helping Doctor. He's more because he lost his position and she took over his position. He it's like he doesn't mind it, but he minds it. I mean, they just have this little thing going on, but it was okay. We're gonna move on from that. I like Hill Harper, so I'm glad he stayed on the show. I like whenever they have that dynamic with him with Sean, like when Sean was trying to say like when did you know your wife was the right one, and you know he's like, I'm gonna go home to my wife because you know I like that dynamic when he has to give Sean advice or they're talking about their personal problems. You know, I like when they do that. Um, and then what else? I'm trying to get everybody out of the way before I get to Sean. Y'all, he got on my nerves this season. Um, who else is there? That's pretty much it for me that, you know, I really watch the show for. So let's get to Sean. Now, Sean has this great girl in Carly. And did I get her name right? Yeah, Carly. I couldn't remember if it was Carla or Carly. And oh, Dr. Melendez. I don't know why he left the show, But I'm very disappointed. I was actually really getting into his character because to me he was a jerk on. Like I always thought of him as kind of like a jerk, but then he really started to grow on me all these seasons. And then why do they keep losing people? Like I'm like, what is going on with the good doctor? Every season they lose good people, and this season they lose Dr. Melendez, and I'm like, no. When he died, I'm like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. Like I'm really getting into him. I really wanted to see how that relationship was gonna go with he and Claire, and for him to like be off the show, it's disappointing. It really is. I'm not gonna stop watching, but it's disappointing that he's not no longer gonna be on the show. As far as okay, so let's get back to Sean. So Sean is he's got this great girl Carly, and they she has been beyond patient with him. Like the amount of patience she has taken and has with Sean is ridiculous. And so I was really disappointed by the fact that he wholeheartedly um was supposed to have all these feelings for her. And then when his father got, like, he kept doing stuff to mess up the relationship, especially with Leah. And don't get me started on Leah because I feel like she knew that Sean liked Carly, and she really knew Carly liked Sean. And when Carly told her, when they had that episode on the elevator, and when Carly said that Sean said he was over her, and she wants to believe him, and he has her and everything, and she was cool with Leah and Sean being friends, I knew in that moment that Leah was going to try to get Sean back. Do I feel like she did it on, like, purposely try to do it? No, but I think maybe subconsciously she did. Like, I feel that, I don't know. I just feel that way that because Sean had a great relationship. If you were his friend and she knew she didn't want him because because he has autism, if you knew you didn't want him for that reason, then let him be with someone, a woman that respects him, that loves him as a man, and not a man with autism, not a man that's a doctor. Carly really loved Sean as a man. Like she put up with a lot from him, and he was ticking me off this whole season. Like she wanted to hold hands. He couldn't do that. It was a fight just to get to hold hands. And then they wasn't even really holding hands. They were just like doing the whole where, you hold it. Like they were doing that where it was almost like touching. And then they lay in the bed together and she couldn't touch him and all that kind of stuff. And and then he gets Leah a job at the hospital working for Dr. Glass. It was like, and then when his father gets sick, and he has to go see him. He goes and he takes Leah and he doesn't even tell Carly. Sean, like, what are you doing? You are purposely trying to ruin this. Like, and I understand that, the character has autism and he doesn't quite get everything. But the things that, and I could also get what Carly was saying, like, it took us forever to touch. And they do start touching, of course, because they become intimate. But it took them forever. And they really had to work it out to do it. And then once they do finally do this, but Sean can get into bed with Leah when his father is upset, and she can hold him, and it's just fine. And it was like he said he was in love with, like, he wanted Carly. He told her, his heart flutters and he feels all these feelings with her, but he didn't feel them with Leah. But as soon as something happens, it's Leah that you run to. I don't know. He was just working my nerves this season. But I guess that's what makes the show, because you're just like, oh, frustration, Sean, frustration. So in the end, Carly breaks up with him because, okay, so they're at karaoke and stuff, and he and Leah started singing, and he's laughing, he's having a good time, and they're supposed to be on separate dates. And Leah's like, "Oh, did I ruin your date?" Yeah, you ruined their date. You could have stayed over there with your guy and not bother Sean and Carly, but that's why I say she did it on purpose. And then they start doing karaoke, and her and Sean kind of go into their own little world, and Carly steps back and she's like looking at them like these two should be the one that's the couple. And then on top of that, he gets Leah hired at the hospital. He takes her and then he tells her that he and Leah slept together all night. She held him, and Carly's like, you couldn't, like, it took us forever for you to even let me touch you, hold hands and do all of this, and you did that with her in one night. You don't love me. You love her. And he's like, he was like, I'm confused because he loves them both. But in the end of the day, he loved Leah, and he didn't want um he loved Leah, and he's not going to be in a relationship with Carly, and that was frustrating to me. And it's even more frustrating when they say it when they said she left the good, like, her character. There's nothing left for her to do on this show, so she's not coming back for the next season, which is frustrating because I would have liked to see her find somebody else and see how that all played out. Like, if they could have done it that way. But I liked her on here. I thought she was good for Sean, and I was disappointed, especially when he chose Leah over Carly, and she didn't want him. And she told him it was because of he was autistic. And I was just like, you had a great girl, and you broke her heart for this girl who's flaky and all that. And he's like, I know, but I can help you. And I don't know. It was just a disappointment with all of that. So that was that. Um, and then the whole explosion happened, and he's going there. He's looking for her. He finds her, and then she wants to be with him now because she saw him differently. I don't know, y'all. It was just disappointing. I'm just disappointed that he's with Leah. That's all it is. I'm just disappointed that he's with Leah. I want him with Carly, so I'm just gonna have to get over it. I'm gonna have to get over it because that's not what happened. The girl isn't gonna even be on the show next season. And Dr. Lindez is not gonna be on there, so it is what it is. Um, so that's it. That was the Good Doctor in a recap review. I love this show. I just can't believe so many main characters just leave. Like, it's frustrating because you start liking someone, or not even. Yeah, you can start liking a character, and then they're gone. Like, it's like, who's gonna go next season? And we don't even know when they're gonna come back on because of the whole pandemic and everything. I don't even know if they've started filming for the fourth season. So, yeah, that was the Good Doctor season 3. You can catch up on it on ABC. I'm sure they have an app. If not, they're on Hulu. If you have Hulu, they're on Hulu with all the episodes. You guys have a great day.